Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 197 of the Peak Endurance Podcast. Today with me, I have Ron again,
Hello.
and he is becoming a regular sidekick on this
Yeah.
show due to popular request.
I'm just like Barney Rubble.
What? We went to a
Yeah.
cafe yesterday morning for breakfast called Brontos, I think short for
Brontos.
Brontos, yeah, short for Brontosaurus. And
It's a Flintstones themed cafe.
I think you're taking it a bit too far.
Maybe I am.
I think so, because I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, here we are once again in your ears, or if you're watching on YouTube, able to see us.
Yep.
And we are here to talk about the first 12 in 12 race and also talk about some of the training principles associated with training for hundreds and that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Sunday now. We completed the first 100K, which was the Oxfam Trailwalker Melbourne. We finished that on Friday.
So it started Friday, 7 a.m. It was just over 100 Ks, give or take, and around 3,000 meters elevation. And it was a lot of it was actual proper trail, bush trail.
Yeah.
And it was actually a really, really good course.
It was.
I'm hard to please when it comes to courses. And I've heard Trailwalker tends to be more sort of, bike paths and all that sort of stuff. And there were some, because of course you've got to connect up the trail somehow.
That's right. Yeah.
But I actually really enjoyed the course and actually really enjoyed the whole run.
Yep. Yeah, it was it captured some of the the best that the Dandenongs have to offer.
Absolutely. And some tough climbs, some tough technical descents, which I didn't expect in this kind of event, because Trailwalker can sometimes be known sort of as an entry-level 100K race run event. They don't call it a race. But some of the trails not so entry level, but still.
Well, I mean, we were going through some of the trails thinking, wow, how are some of those people who are new to this sort of thing, how are they going to handle this? Because some of it was seriously steep and loose, slippery, technical.
But, from everything I've seen on social media, everyone loved it as much as we did. And I know people who've done it before said that it's the best course they've done on Trailwalker. And my friend Nicole Donnelly, who's done it many, many times, said that she thought it was the best course. So certainly not just us who enjoyed the course, for sure. So obviously Trailwalker is a team event. Now, I have never done Trailwalker because, like I said last time, I've never wanted to do a team event because I'm either scared of letting the team down or being frustrated by being in a team. So I was a bit nervous about it all and unsure how it would all play out, but it actually went really well, considering we did not know the people on our team.
No, the first time we'd met in person, all of the team members, we met two of them the night before the race. We went out for dinner to catch up and get to know them. And then we had a person who
was looking for a team.
Yeah.
At the last minute, like we found out about it at the dinner of the night before Thursday night. Imran joined us on the day.
Yeah, the first time we met him was
on the start line.
The start line, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So, but he slotted in well. As you said, he was the comic relief.
He was very
positive, very much a positive force, but definitely the comic relief. He was very funny, and whether he intended to be or not. He liked to skip along, kind of almost skipping, it seemed.
Yeah, it was,
Loved the downhills, went crazy on the downhill, often missing turns and having to backtrack because he was get so excited running the downhills that he kind of just forgot about following the course.
That's right. It seemed like every time we took our eye off him, he
got lost. So it was like having a little puppy along.
It was.
But, a great guy, lovely guy, and the team captain, Kevin, absolutely amazing on the uphills, like so strong. Like I consider myself strong in the uphills. I mean, I'm not at my greatest strength at the moment, but even with poles, I couldn't bloody keep up with him, and he wasn't using poles.
And he looked, when he was doing it, he looked like he was just marching along,
just cruising.
Yeah, as casual as you like.
Yeah, and you, me, and David were using poles, and we couldn't catch up to him. So, certainly, awesome. And then David Benny is the one who kind of got us all together, right? And unfortunately for him, well, he just did Delirious West not that long ago, so he's still hadn't recovered properly, and his hamstrings let him know about that, so he had to pull out at Sylvan, which was
about 46 something Ks, just before 50 Ks. So because he knew that we had quite a bit of climbing to do. Certainly after Lilydale, coming out of Lilydale. So he didn't think his hammies would be able to
handle it.
And also, we had a goal in mind of around 18 to 20 hours, and he was pretty sure that the way his hammies were feeling, he was not going to be able to keep up that pace.
Yeah. So so he pulled out. So anyway, but he helped Sally, our crew, which was Sally is Kevin's wife. And so David met us at Lilydale so that Sally could go home and walk the dog and feed the dog and do those sorts of things. And so he met us out at Lilydale, and Lilydale was great. There was a food truck. We got one of those twisty twirly potatoes.
With lots of chicken salt on it. It was just what we needed at the time.
And a can of Coke. And we got some 2 hot jam donuts that we packed in the pack and completely forgot about.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
And kind of didn't feel like it either afterwards. But never fear, we still ate them.
Just
on Saturday night.
On Saturday night for dessert.
Yeah, we just microwaved them. Yeah. Nothing like sitting in a sweaty pack for 2 days. Anyway, that was still yummy.
That was still yummy, yeah.
We're not fussy. So anyway, all right. So we ended up doing it in faster than 18 to 20 hours. We did it in 16 and a half hours, and we were actually the second team across the line. Yep. Totally unexpected. Not what I thought we'd be mid-pack.
Not long after the start, we were talking to David, and he said at the pace that we were aiming for, we would probably come around, within the top 10. And we were like, what?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, we were like, oh, that's pretty cool. Didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So, not only did we get in the top 10, but we came second.
Yeah, totally unexpected. We overtook 2 teams in the last 20k.
3 teams after once we left Sky High, we passed 3 teams.
Did we?
Yeah,
I thought it was 2.
No, it was 3.
Okay, if you say so.
Remember, we passed the team at the bottom of Zigzag.
Oh, of course, because they were broken into 2 groups of 2.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that they were a team. I just thought they were people 8.
No, they were a team. So we passed them at the bottom of Zigzag.
Then we passed another team at the bottom of Dunedin.
Yeah.
And then another team at the bottom of Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So and can I say all the aid stations at Trailwalker, fantastic.
Yeah.
Heaps of portaloos, which is great for females, to actually have proper toilets at every single aid station, and lots of them. So it was a really well-organised and put together event. All the volunteers were so encouraging.
The checkpoint volunteers were really good, and also the marshals.
At
road crossings and
Trailwalker had organised it. If it crossed a road, not only did they have people to put up stop signs, but they had huge lights, so nobody could miss A, the stop sign people, and B, the runners. You felt really safe crossing roads, because some of the roads were fairly busy ones, like what's that road between the Birdsland area and Listy?
Glenfern
Road.
Yeah.
No, between
Wellington Road.
Wellington Road. Yeah, that's because you're on a sort of on a crest, so cars don't really see you until the last minute. It can often be like taking
we regularly cross that road.
It's dangerous.
And you really you've got to get ready and go as soon as you possibly can.
It was it was really good to be able to just cruise across that and not be frightened for your life. So great course and great finish line. mind you, there weren't that many people
No,
there. So.
when we got through, there was about midnight, and there weren't many people hanging around. Only crew that were waiting for their imminent arrival of their team.
Yeah, which wasn't that many. So it was actually about 11:30. Okay, so well before midnight. So anyway, so it was a great race, and I was not just nervous. When I say nervous, I don't mean ooh, but a little bit had I don't know, nervous, I guess, about the team aspect. But I was a bit nervous because I have not done as much training as I would like to do normally for 100K. But I actually felt better doing that 100K than I did doing the 30K the week before.
That was strange.
The week before doing that 30K, that's when I got nervous because I'm like, oh my God, this feels awful.
Yeah.
But then my body just seems to know, and my body prefers the long distances.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to know, we're doing 100K, and suddenly I felt better. And, so thank God.
Yeah, I mean, we did a 30K run and then backed it up with a 20K run the next day, and which
we did Lyrebird repeats, which are steep hill repeats, and I got DOMs for 4 days from that from that 20K Lyrebird repeats, which was only altogether about 1,000 meters climbing, and we did 3,000 on Friday, and I didn't get DOMs. No sore legs. So who knows? I don't know. Yeah. I think, like I said, I just think the body likes what it likes, and it it knows how to do this sort of stuff. And to be honest, we weren't going at an overly fast pace.
No.
Like we were walking quite a fair bit of it for us, and so I didn't feel like we were pushing hard at all.
No,
I never felt
really. At no point did we really push the pace too hard.
We were cruising that.
Yeah,
that was my average heart rate was 124, which for me is super duper low, and your average heart rate was 110, which is so we were not working tremendously hard.
No, but one of the things we spoke about, because as we've said on the podcast before recently, since Christmas or since
before Christmas,
since Isabel did the Coast to Cozzy, our training's been quite low. We have started to build it up again in the last couple of weeks, but before that it was low for us. We hadn't. We haven't done any long. We hadn't done any long runs. We certainly weren't training for any long races.
No.
We had nothing really in mind, so we were just in kind of caretaker mode with our running. And then obviously 2 weeks out, when we actually realised we were going to be doing a 100K race, we did a bit of cramming.
A bit of panic training, a bit of a reverse taper. But even then, we didn't do anything, like 36 was the longest.
Yeah.
And we didn't do anything over the top because as much as we were trying to cram, we didn't want to exhaust ourselves.
Yeah.
And what this, and this is where we're sort of going to get into the training talk, is what this shows is the benefits of consistency, of just consistent training. And we were both still doing quality sessions, not a huge amount, but just enough to keep a little bit of pace in the legs and to keep the fitness there. And obviously Ron does what I tell him to do in regards to the training. Like I give him,
and in life in general.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, God, that sounds terrible. No. But so I mean, it's not a very specific program because I don't write for him. I just tell him on the day.
That's right. I don't have a set program,
like because I do for my athletes.
Yeah, and because I don't have any goal races that Isabel can lead me up to.
But I do this with some athletes. Is they say I don't have any goals for the moment. I just want to be fit enough to jump into a race whenever I want to.
Yeah.
And that it actually is specific training. It is training for ticking over and being ready. Because to be ready to jump into a race at any time means your fatigue levels can't be too high, but your fitness needs to be there. It's actually really hard to achieve that. So it is actually a skill in a coach to be able to get you to that point where you can train and be ready to jump into a race and do quite well. I mean, we came second to do quite well at any race. And Ron hasn't done lots of hundreds, so he doesn't have that muscle memory like I do. That was only his fourth 100K race. So that's not a lot. So it's not like he's like, oh, yeah, I've done this 60 million times before, like I have, and I know what I'm doing and I know I can get through it. It's still fairly new territory for him. So, I mean, that is what we talked about and with his training. and we've been managing, just this slight hamstring niggle that, it's just, trying to navigate that, because it only comes on if he pushes the speed in speed work. So I've been, telling him what paces to do and navigating that, and dropped his quality sessions to only 1 a week, whereas I will do 2.
For a while there I was doing 2, and
it was too much for your hamstring, wasn't it?
Yep.
So this is what you need a coach for, because they help to navigate those kinds of things and can keep you, like, if you don't want to necessarily peak for an individual single race, to be able to get you to that point of fitness and maintain it without pushing you into fatigue, maintain it so that you are ready to jump into a race at any time and do yourself proud. Like not jump into a race and slog it out in DFL, but actually do okay. And I'm not saying everybody's suddenly going to come second or win or whatever, but do well for you, whatever your specific version of success is. But what I'm saying is you can be on that fine line of fitness and not just complete, but actually compete a little bit as well. So in fact, Ron was getting just a tad competitive out there, because he was pushing for prep. You always say you don't get competitive, but you were like, the first time he's this far in front of us, and Kevin's like freaking out because he's feeling the pressure from old bloody Ron here. I'm like, no, it's okay. No pressure, Mr. Non-competitive. What?
No, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah. You get white line fever when you're racing.
Once because the way the course goes through the Dandenongs, you do a bit of an out and back to the aid station, which is at Sky High. So anyone who knows the area, there's one trail up to Sky High. So we basically went up there, had the aid, and then came back down. So we actually saw 3 teams. So we knew we were close. With there were 2 teams coming down as we were going up, and there was 1 team at the aid station as we rolled in. So we knew we were close, but we were told that the leading team were miles in front, so that we never really thought we were going to catch them. So it was good to know that they were there, and it did give us a bit of an edge on.
Especially because we weren't expecting it.
No,
honestly, I thought we were just going to be mid-pack, cruise in, do whatevs, go home. But, it was like, oh, my God.
So, it was nice to know that we were that close. And then, obviously, it was only, 3-4 Ks down the trail when we actually caught the first team. After that aid station. So we were clearly... we were still feeling good. We were still running. We were still.
And this gets us into the next aspect of our training talk, is pacing. So what some of these teams obviously did is went off harder than they should have. And 100 Ks, you still need to. It's not as long as a miler, no, but you still need to respect the distance. And there's no point in going off at the start of 100 K like you're only doing a 50 K race.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, it's 100 Ks. That's still a bloody long way in anybody's language. So. You need to respect that and take off at a pace that you can maintain, right? And we didn't go off super fast, and yet those other teams blasted off ahead of us, and then we ended up passing them. I mean, and they were walking slow, some of them.
I mean, we passed a team with about 15 kilometres to go.
The ones at the bottom of Tyson?
Yeah, and they ended up finishing like an hour and a half behind us in the last 15 Ks. So,
and one of the other teams, the first team that we passed after Sky High, it was a downhill section. They were walking it because they were obviously exhausted, whereas we were running downhill, and we were still running the flats and the downhills and everything. So, that is testament to pacing correctly, and I'm always a big believer in that. And I know you've probably on this podcast heard me bang on about it before, because I've said it before. I often at the beginning of races I'm in the back of the pack. It even happened that year I did Go, which is a Great Ocean Walk, and I broke the course record. There was a woman before me who broke it as well. I mean, I came second, but I still broke the previous course record. But at the start, for the first part of the race, I was up the back. and cruising with the people up the back. And the best part about my race strategy is I get to talk to everybody in the entire race as I work my way up. But I started up the back, and I'm not saying that everybody can do what I do. That's just the way my body is. It kind of winds up. But I don't feel I do feel the pressure, but I don't succumb to the pressure of needing to keep up with everyone at the start, because I know that's just going to come back and bite me. And it's really hard on the ego to pull yourself back and not sprint off with everyone, but you have to.
Yeah.
Because you've got to do what works for your body, not what works for, other people next to you. Just because it works for them, and to be honest, it doesn't work for many of them. It doesn't mean just because that's their pace, it's not your pace. So in many, many races that I've done really well at, and some races that I haven't, but that's okay. I always just tend to start at the back and then just slowly wind it up and pick my way through the field. And, and that's always been the way I've raced, because I know that early in my running career, I blew myself up many a time going out hard at the start. And I did learn the hard way, but no, I want you not to have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Admittedly, when I blew myself up hard, that was in short races. So at least I didn't have to suffer for the next 10 hours.
Yeah.
This was in 10Ks and half marathons where I was going out at, sub 4 minute pace, and then wondering why I blew up after 5K. Right. So, but you need to learn from your mistakes. And if that's what you do, stop doing it.
Yeah.
Pace yourself. I mean, you were a classic example. You used to do it, didn't you?
Terribly. Yeah, terribly.
The first 200s before you met me, that you did 2 100s, and you did it with both of them.
Yeah. Go for as hard as I could for as long as I could, and then death march it in. That was my race strategy.
And how'd that work? Was it fun?
It wasn't fun, no.
Was Friday fun?
Oh yeah. Friday was fun, and yeah, the only reason we stopped running towards the end was because we had a teammate who got lost. Imran, and so we had to wait for him to catch up so we could cross the finish line together. Yeah. So we were kind of walking a bit.
We were walking a fair bit
slow for the last couple of Ks.
Yeah. So otherwise, we would have run the whole last bit in.
Yeah, that's right.
With the odd walk break, because to be fair, I was getting a bit snoozy.
And there were still a few hills, so we still would have just walked the hills and run the downs and flats.
Yeah. But even when we were walking, we were walking. We were walking with purpose still, as I always do, as I always like to do. And, so, I mean, it's just interesting that, a lot of people, and I hate to say it, mainly men, get pacing wrong and go off too hard and burn their matches. So focus on your pacing. It shouldn't feel, you shouldn't be huffing and puffing and heart rate up high at the beginning of the race in the first 20 to 30 Ks. You should not be pushing the red line then.
Yeah.
Not at all. And also you will find, if you don't push it as hard at the start, you'll be able to digest foods better. Right. And because the higher your heart rate is, the harder it is to digest food, obviously. So, keeping it a little bit down means that you will go further without getting the nausea.
Yeah.
And then speaking of food, for me, I have lots and lots of issues because I have so many food sensitivities or intolerances, basically, I guess. I'm very intolerant.
Yes.
To sugar, to anything sweet.
Thank you.
So, I can't eat anything sweet, basically, which makes all of the manufactured food, running food, off the table.
That's right.
Okay.
Because all that, Cliff bars, gels, chews, they're basically just sugar.
And I always have found highly processed foods all my life very hard to digest. I mean, I've been seeing dietitians since I was little. So I have never been really able to eat processed foods, and I was brought up on a very clean diet. So my body's not used to it anyway. So basically what we did was on the Thursday before the race, was it Thursday? Yep. I went to Knox City and bought some sushi because I know I like sushi. in running, and brought some squishy white bread, which I know is processed, but still. And then, I made for myself ham sandwiches, just plain ham sandwiches, and cut off the crust, cut them into, squish the bread down. So it was like a wrap almost, but yeah, like a pancake, and cut it into little bite-sized pieces, which is a trick taught to me by Pam Muston, and put it into a Ziploc bag. So then you can open the Ziploc bag and you just pick out little bits of sandwiches. Had a Vegemite one, ham one, just ham and butter, Vegemite and butter. And I am lactose intolerant, but a little bit of butter is fine. And then I cut up the sushi into little bite-sized pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The Avo one went a bit meh, so we won't be getting that again. We had that in little bags. And I also had, what else did I have?
Well, we had the potato.
Oh, that was so good.
Thing at
so we actually stopped in Lilydale at a food truck and ordered food from it.
Yeah.
When do you do that in an alt?
Yeah, that's right. It was well sorted. We could have pretty much got anything. They had baked potatoes as well.
Yeah, to eat that on the run.
That's right.
We weren't. We were just eating that in Lilydale and then sort of walking out. But it was easy. You sort of pull it apart, easy. Oh, and that chicken salt. Oh, my God. Oh, that was so good. And remember how I just got in really good spirits after that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Not that I was down.
No.
But it really, having some nice something warm. Not that it was cold or anything, but it just got me in good spirits.
Yeah, that's right. That walk out, even, the flat walk out of Lilydale, and then even once we started climbing up into the Dandenongs again, we were still moving well, and we weren't trudging along or anything. It was still good.
No, so I've never had such a positive experience for the entire race in 100K before.
Yeah.
And I think that is testament to just pulling the pace back a bit. Obviously, like in Canberra, we did 13 hours or so.
You said 13 and a half.
I can't remember.
Yeah, 13 and a half.
And that race, I felt good for the whole race, but there were at some points like climbing up Black Mountain.
Yeah. That was a mental thing because, we knew we had to climb to the top, but it seemed like every time we made a turn, we turned away from the top.
So because we don't know that area, whereas the Dandies we know, we know it's...
we knew where we were going and how we were going to get there, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Even though we didn't necessarily know the specific trails, we're familiar with the territory, but Canberra was like,
oh my God. Why are we going this way? We're supposed to be going this way.
And I'm pretty sure before that race we hadn't done lots of hills either.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, because we weren't even really sure what the Canberra race looked like.
No,
no.
See, we didn't do our due diligence there.
Not on that one.
No, we've been a bit, but that because once again, it's hard when you're doing a race because we were doing a race every month.
Yeah.
As well, we've just upped the ante to make it 100Ks every month.
Yeah.
You kind of run out of time to double check everything and look at everything. So that is one thing. Like today, before we did this, because of course I'm doing Buffalo 100K on Saturday. Ron is not. He's not stupid.
No.
And I'm doing that. So we've looked at the elevation profile, the map, where the aid stations are. We've worked out where the pie shop is in Bright and those sorts of things, all the important details, because Ron's going to get me a pie and maybe some sort of nice chickeny wrap. And because what I'm finding is I crave protein. Not carbs. When I make them, I crave protein. So obviously, and I'm a big believer in when you crave something, that means that's what your body actually needs.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I have cravings just for, yumminess. I crave things that my body needs. And when my body craves protein, I know it means I need protein. So I honor that. So, that's what we'll be focusing on. So I'll be buying more sushi, but this time I'll just get the one with chicken in it because that was the one that went down the best. And also I tried, let me get this, a new electrolyte because once again, I go through stages with electrolyte and they upset my stomach. So at the start line, they had Pure on the start line. So I tried that. I know I always say don't try things you've never tried before on race day, but I knew the one I had kind of upset my stomach. And this one, I'm not sponsored, by the way, just saying. It's sucrose, glucose, and that sort of stuff. And there's nothing artificial in it. Like the other ones we were using, it doesn't have artificial sweetness per se, but it has xylitol, which can also lead to gastric distress. So, and or if you've got ones with sucralose in them, sucralose is big for causing gastric distress. So this one has got nothing like that. I better double check that before I say this. But
needless to say, we have a cupboard full of half-opened.
Oh my God, there's about
drinks.
$500 worth of electrolyte drinks that I can't drink. So if anyone wants anything, so I've told Ron he has to drink it all, or if he's not going to, I've got to give them to someone. Like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're all really good quality products. It's just me.
Yeah, I can drink them. I have no problems with them.
It's just I don't think you can drink them before they go out of like.
Yeah, that's just we've got so much of it. That's the problem. Yeah,
so much. So you know, and because they've been started, I have to give them to just a friend as opposed to whatever. Like otherwise, I'd just give them, I don't know, as a freebie or something. But yeah, no, they've been started. So although some of them haven't, I don't think. You know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, we need the pantry space. So
that's right.
But yeah, so you know, there was a lot of learnings in this that, you know, dropping the pace helps with digestion and it helps with feeling better. And especially when I have to turn over and do another race so soon, dropping the pace is super important. So, you know, you've got to think about what your goals are, but ultimately going out super hard at a race rarely works unless you're actually gunning for the win. If you're one of those people gunning for the win, then for sure go out hard at the start. But even then, like when I won GSER, I was coming second last for quite a long time. And in fact, we were often taking turns last, second last, you know. So I was basically DFL for quite a long time. And then I just worked my way through the pack. And you know, it's much nicer to be overtaking people than to be the one being overtaken.
Yes.
You know, mentally, so much better and everything. So have a think about your pacing. What are you doing? Are you smashing out your 5K PB at the start or your 10 or your half marathon PB? You know, are you absolutely getting that heart rate up high and breathing? Look at, if you're wearing your Garmin, go back, look at your stats. Where was your heart rate the highest? If it was at the start, you're going out too hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously your heart rate's going to go up and it generally jumps up a little bit higher at the start as it goes, what the crap's going on, and, you know, that sort of stuff. But have a look if you've really got really high heart rate and then it just, you know, you're going out too hard. And just, you don't even need to look at the stats. You should be able to listen to your body. I have the watch there so I can see distance and all that. I don't think about my pace on the watch, or I don't look at my heart rate on the watch. I know my own body. I know when I'm working hard and when I'm not working hard. And, you know, when I saw my heart rate for the run and it was 124, I said to Ron, oh, what was your heart rate? And I said, with me at 124, I said, I bet you were about 110. He opened up his thing and what did it say?
110.
Exactly. Because I know what he works at when he's working at my pace.
Yeah.
Right? So it shouldn't be a guessing game. You should know your body well enough to know what feels like too hard, what feels like hard, what feels like just right. And so make sure that because it's so important, you don't want to be groveling and death marching in the last half.
Yeah.
You know, like we do this for fun. Make sure it's an enjoyable experience. Unless, like I said, you're Killian going for the win and he can actually maintain that and he probably feels okay.
Yeah. That's right.
From the look on his face, he's not absolutely killing himself at the start. Killian is not killing himself.
No, he's not.
Right? He knows his body well enough to know what he can push and still feel relatively good. Of course, it's always hard work. And no matter where you are in the field, it's hard work and it's going to feel tough towards the end. But it shouldn't be where you're at the point where you're groveling and walking super slow.
That's right. And you know, really, the people that we passed, you know, towards the end of the race,
they were struggling.
We flew past them, not because we were trying to run past them fast, just because we still had lots of energy.
Yeah, and our legs still felt good. And they trained specifically for this event, and we did not. Right? So, you know, I mean, I think that's something super important. Like I said, it helps with digestion. And the other thing with the food is we were nibbling quite often.
Yeah, right from the start. Like, you know, maybe 3 or 4 Ks in, I had my first bite, and I had a Cliff Bar to start with, just because I knew that I just needed something, you know, just to be in my stomach. You know, not I wasn't looking for nourishment. I wasn't looking for
deliciousness.
or for to fill me up.
Yeah.
I literally, and all it was, I
It was
think,
a means to an end.
yeah, I think I only ate like 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
And that was enough. That was just to keep, keep it at base rather than get hungry.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you don't want to feel hungry. And certainly after like we got to the bottom of Lyrebird, I didn't feel like eating anymore just
Yeah.
because it's late. It's night. You don't normally eat then. Your body's like, oh, I've had
Yeah.
enough. But every time I sort of got a slight hunger pang, I would just shove another bit of sushi in, because it's not about whether I want to eat, it's because I need to. And although I was feeling a bit blur in the stomach, it wasn't at the point where I couldn't eat. I could.
Yeah.
I absolutely could. I just didn't particularly want to because it was
It was just like
who wants to eat?
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, like normally I'm going to bed then.
Yeah.
My bedtime reminder had gone off.
Yeah.
I should have been in bed.
Yeah.
So it was more just, oh, I don't want to eat. And I was getting a little bit sick and tired of sushi, only because I don't want to eat the whole same thing all day, but whatever. So I mean, I was still capable of eating and I still did eat and that was fine. And so then we get on to recovery. So what we did, we made a rookie mistake.
We did.
Oh,
it seemed like a good idea.
This was my really good idea.
It seemed like a good idea at the time, but
we you change your sheets when you change your sheets and at home in bed, and I'd gone, I'm not changing the sheets. When we get home, we're just getting straight to bed. That way, we don't have to worry about having a shower because we'll change the sheets the next day. Oh, that'll be so good. It means we'll get maximum sleep because my goal was maximum sleep. Yeah, good idea, right? Yeah, no, bad, horrible, gross.
Yeah, it was just.
I could not sleep.
It's so hard to get comfortable when you're,
sweaty and disgusting.
Or not. We weren't sweaty. It was the residual, like the stickiness, and So
it was horrible.
If you want a good night's sleep after a race, you've got to have a shower.
Yeah, I mean, like if we'd invested 10 minutes in the shower, we'd have got way more sleep. I couldn't sleep because every time I rolled, I'm like, oh, it's just horrible. So yes,
don't do that.
Don't do that. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
So then we got up in the morning, we had something to eat, and then we had a shower, and then we went back to bed.
Yes. for a short nap, we thought.
3 hours.
We're tired, we'll have a quick nap. Yeah, 3 hours later, we woke up going, oh, wow.
It's a daisy. But that was okay because we still slept super well.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was so good getting back into bed with clean bodies.
By then we changed the sheets.
Oh, God, I could not hop back into that bed. That was foul. So, no way. So it was so nice and slept so well. And then last night, of course,
and then we went for about a 3-kilometer walk yesterday afternoon.
Super easy.
Yeah, just a stroll, just to loosen things up and
we went out for breakfast in the morning, like we said, to Bronto's, and we had an omelette, so heaps of protein and toast, and it was so good.
Yeah,
got everything in. That was good. So we've really been focusing on good nutrition, easy walk just to loosen up the legs. Then this morning we went for a 2-hour mountain bike ride, but not in the mountains,
no.
Just only because we only have mountain bikes. Just on the bike paths and just cruisy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy ride, just ticking the legs over. And then tomorrow we'll do a 10K run each. And I'm not, neither of us will be going for breaking any land speed records, that's for sure. So, and I'm getting a massage this afternoon, which is Sunday, and Steve's kindly said that he will give me a massage today, and then I'll get another one from him Friday morning. Because you've got to focus on recovery, and protein is a big part of it. Like I said, we had eggs the next day, and last night we had homemade pulled pork. Well, when I say homemade, like we bought the pulled pork.
We cooked it at home.
Yeah, we microwaved it at home. Don't cook. Microwaving is not cooking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to justify the whole homemade comment.
We warmed it up at home.
And we
put the dressing on the salad at home. We cut the rolls. The pre-made bread. Jesus. What's home cooking anymore?
Yeah, that's it.
I know. And some people might even consider that home cooking. I don't know. Anyway, so that was heaps of meat because I think that was enough meat for a family of 4, and we ate nearly all of it. I am a big believer in protein. Like protein really aids with muscle repair, and and you have your carbs with that, and some good fats and veggies and whatnot.
And we'll continue that theme throughout the week.
Yeah, like we're going to eat really well.
Yeah,
We've
eat
planned
really
our
well.
meals for the week.
Bit of carbs again by the end of the week, just to build
Bit
up.
more carbs. Yep, yep.
Not overdoing it, not going over the top. We're not
Yeah,
going
I'm not
going to eat pasta every night.
No, and you know, even when you do carbo load, and I write carbo loading programs for athletes, so message me if you want that. But it's not, when I say carbo load, it doesn't mean only have carbs. You know, it's still a balanced diet, but I'm feeling like I don't want to do big carbo loads for each one of these races because they're so close together. I can't do that. But you know, the percentage of carbs will still increase, but it won't be a huge carbo load. But the percentage will still increase. So, you know, and it is super important. I'm a big believer in that. I know a lot of people are, oh, no carbs, blah, 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 but I disagree with that. Carbs are good. Carbs are not the enemy. Carbs are your friend, especially as women, we need to make sure we eat carbs. So that's basically, you know, and of course, in regards to recovery, we had the pneumatic things on our calves and on our thighs. I had the flex beam on my lower back and on my calves as well. Just ensuring that the recovery is nailed. And and is there anything I've missed? Like, what else should we talk about? You know, so but basically, I don't necessarily recommend, I certainly don't recommend to my clients to do 100K races this close together if they want to have, you know, stellar performances at each. You can't. And I'm not doing this to have, you know, absolute stellar performances at each. The second place was just an absolute fluke.
Yeah. Certainly not what we were expecting.
No. And, you know, so, and of course, you know, you can only, you know, placings, you shouldn't be basing on placing because it all just depends on what everyone else has been doing. Sure. You know, so with Buffalo, who knows? I'm just wanting to complete it once again because the goal is to complete these 100K races. If I don't complete them, then what am I going to do? Start again? Like, who knows? We haven't really thought about that because I don't want to register it in my consciousness that
it's not an option.
It's not an option. I'm just going to do them, like, by hook or by crook. So that is that plan.
Yeah.
And if that means at some of them I might have to push a bit, I certainly will have to push a bit harder at most of them than at Trailwalker, because Trailwalker has, you know, a 48-hour cutoff. Like, there was no way we were not making this. So, you know, other ones have shorter cutoffs before, you know, so you've got to kind of push it a bit. So,
I mean, we were running, what were we, about 75, 80 Ks in, and the course kind of turns back on itself for, you know, a kilometre or so. And we passed people who were at
they were coming towards us.
Yeah, they were at the 35K mark, and we were at like the 80K mark. And we were like,
I just felt so sorry for them.
Could you imagine?
You know, but kudos to them for being out there and giving it a bloody red hot crack.
Yeah.
And they were still going and they were pushing, and it was dark and they had so far to go.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, and that's who Trailwalker is more geared towards, is people who just, you know, want to try 100K for the first time. And that's why we're saying that it was what we thought was quite a difficult course for entry level, but I loved the course. I really, really loved it. But it's still not an easy course for that demographic.
No.
But, you know, they were still out there giving it a go and keeping one foot in front of the other. And that's what it's all about. So good on them. They obviously also started later, probably at 8 a.m. We started at 7. So, you know, we had an hour head start, but what else? Anyway, so, you know, if you've got any questions for us about the 12 and 12 or about specific races, please do ask, because we will be happy to share what we're learning. And that's what these podcasts are about, is sharing what we're learning as we go.
Yeah, it's going to be the next 12 months are going to be a huge learning curve as to, you know, how to get your body, you know, up and down and rest it efficiently, but still maintaining the capacity to keep going, you know, in a week or in 3 weeks.
And that's the thing. Like, after this one, I've got probably 4 to 5 weeks, because this is the 1st of April. The next one is the 6th of May.
Yeah.
Right. And then the one after that is like the 24th of June. But then after the 24th of June, 2 weeks later, there's another one.
Yeah.
So, it's really up and down on when the timing is. And that's why I find this challenge so interesting, because it's all about nailing the recovery aspect.
Yeah.
So, and maintaining training whilst recovering is really tricky, but it's doable, because I know I've done something similar before, not as many, but I've done similar sort of things before. And certainly for me, I find I tend to thrive on having races close together. But 12 of them, who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm talking 2 or 3 normally, so we'll see. But it's a bit of fun, so follow along. It's all part of fun.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a challenge if it wasn't hard. So
yeah, that's it.
Yep. And if you are at Buffalo at Bright on the weekend, please do say hi to either of us.
Yeah, Isabel will be out running, but I'll be driving around and chilling out and having some fun while Isabel's doing all the hard work.
See, I reckon I'm having fun. Yeah, so
I'll be eating 3 pies. Isabel will only be eating 1 on the go.
Yeah, that's right. And I've told him to make sure they're in Ziploc bags, not paper bags, because they sit in my pocket much better in Ziploc. No doubt. Not that I would know. I've only ever tried paper, but yes. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget, if you want to get one of those flex beams, and they are, like I say, awesome. And they have helped with your hamstring a lot.
Yeah, I've been using them on my hamstring.
Yeah, when you remember.
Yeah.
And they've helped so much with my calf that I highly recommend them. There is a link that in the show notes, I guess, and get where you can get 10% off, Isabel Ross 10. So use that and you can get 10% off, and I highly recommend them, and they are really good. And of course, peakchocolate.com.au for 15% off with the code Isabel Ross. And health and high performance, go and see Luke if you've got any niggles that need treatment, because he will keep you running. Absolutely. And that's what we want to do, is keep on running.
We do, yeah. That's what we like.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, if you are running, enjoy the rest of your run. If you're not, have fun on your next run.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.